Hey team, welcome to another Bullpen Bulletin with Coach Hart and Building Better Baseball. Today we're debunking some myths, some coaching myths. So today we're going to debunk three of the most popular coaching myths that I've heard and I've seen all everywhere. A lot of coaches believe them, a lot of coaches talk to them. It stems from a lot of conversations I've had with youth coaches. So these are the three most popular coaching myths that we're debunking today. And again, I'm Coach Hart. This is Building Better Baseball, the best place for baseball education. So let's debunk these myths, all right? So the first thing is my purpose for making this video. All right, so this video stems from my many conversations with youth coaches that I've had about successful coaching and what successful coaching is and what it means. All right, so these are the three most common myths that I hear or limiting beliefs. So that's what I think they are. So a lot of coaches think that they're true, right? Because they believe them, but I really think they're just limiting beliefs for themselves. All right, so the reality is they're simply just justifications for the coach who believes them. That's what I really believe about this because none of these are true. And the coaches who are actually saying them and they believe them, they're really, I feel, are just justifications for the person saying it or for the person believing it, just kind of rationalizing why they haven't been or they haven't found the success that they have. So that's kind of the way I look at it. But we'll get into them, okay? My goal in this video, my goal for this video is to give you clarity on what successful coaching is and help you realize your potential. Right. So I know that my definition of success is not the same as yours or same as everybody else's. But I do think that I have a pretty good grasp on what successful coaching is. And these myths are really just kind of fallen far from the tree of what successful coaching is. So let's get into it. All right. So the first one is high baseball IQ. All right, so this myth is the connection of having a high baseball IQ is equals coaching success. So basically, a coach who knows baseball will be more successful or is more successful than somebody who does not. All right, so that is a big myth that I hear is that it can go both ways. Is that this coach knows baseball, so therefore he will be a good coach, or if he's already a coach, then hey, he must be a successful coach because he knows baseball. All right, and those two are not connected. They help each other, but they're not connected. All right, so this is similar. The way I see it is it's similar to velocity equals pitching success with pitchers, right? So a lot of people think that pitching success, you have to throw hard to be a good pitcher. Well, my question to you is, have you ever seen a successful pitcher who doesn't throw hard? Of course, Greg Maddux, Jamie Moyer, name a bunch, right? Therefore, have you ever seen a good coach or have you ever seen a successful coach who maybe doesn't know baseball as much as everybody else? Of course, right? It's the same thing. The bottom line is that knowing baseball does not equal coaching success. And that's what I feel a lot of, especially new coaches who may not know the game as much as everybody else, they think that they have to know baseball in order to be a successful coach. And that is not what it is. All right. Even though it helps to know the game, obviously, coaching is so much more than just having a high baseball IQ. I can tell you right now, there are plenty of smart baseball players, right? Smart baseball players who know the game in and out, everything, who would not or have not made great coaches. Okay? So there are smart baseball players who know the game who are not great coaches. Right, because they are not connected, and that's the belief that everybody has, especially a lot of new coaches, that they feel that they will not be successful because they do not know the game as much as everybody else, and that's not true. All right, so coaching is knowing how to manage a team. That has nothing to do with baseball IQ. Obviously, where you put your players and everything, and the way you do things, it kind of involves baseball. But knowing how to manage a team, that doesn't really have to do with baseball, because if you could apply that to any sport, right? Any coach has to know how to manage a team in any game. So knowing how to teach baseball skills to children, this is one of the biggest things, okay? Coaching youth players, you have to know how to teach them the skills in ways that they understand. they do not understand a lot of things that high baseball IQ players or coaches say because it's too advanced for them. And the coach themselves, they know so much about baseball, but they don't really know how to filter it down so that a child can understand how to do it. And that is a skill. That is a skill that you can learn. And that has really nothing to do with your baseball IQ. Obviously, you have to know how to teach the skills, but you have to know how to teach the skills to the children in a way that they will understand. And that is a hard skill. And not all high baseball IQ players and coaches know how to do that. All right. And if you know how to do that very well, and maybe you don't know baseball like a lot, you will still be a great coach, a successful coach. All right. So putting your players in positions where they will be successful. That doesn't come easy to everybody. All right. They put players in different situations and everything. They keep people out in left, right field, whatever. They don't put their players in positions where they know that they will be successful, where they're setting their players up for success. That is a skill, and that it does not come easy for everybody. So creating an atmosphere of trust with your players, that is a hard thing to do, right? That is a hard thing to do. Creating that atmosphere, creating that space where your players feel comfortable coming up to you and telling you what they're struggling with or how they're feeling about things, and just creating that open dialogue between you and their player, right? That is a hard thing to do. That is a hard thing to establish, and it happens over time. But a lot of coaches, they can't do that, all right? Teaching them life skills through baseball that they can take with them to lead a successful adult life. A lot of coaches who have a very high baseball IQ, they only care about baseball and they only think in baseball terms, and they don't think about the whole life outside of baseball, right? The kids, their baseball is just a piece of their entire life. All right. So you have to remember that as a coach. And a lot of high baseball IQ coaches, they only see baseball, they don't see everything else. And that is hard for a kid, right? So being able to teach them life skills and open your coaching up to more than just baseball, and having them just develop into a high quality, successful human being as they grow older, that is coaching. That is coaching. And that really has nothing to do with your baseball IQ at all. All right. So the last thing I want to say with this is also remember baseball can be learned by anyone, including you. So even if you don't have a high baseball IQ or you don't really feel like you know the game as much as you'd like, you can learn. There are so many resources out online in the world that you can use to increase your baseball IQ. But if you have these things, the essence of coaching, all of these things that I listed, you will be a successful coach. Your players will love you. And even if you don't know the game as much as you want to, right? So this is the first one, just having a high baseball IQ equals coaching success. And that's just not true. I hear that all the time, especially from new coaches who may not know the game as much. So hopefully you're listening and hopefully you understand that this is not true. And just because you don't know baseball does not mean that you will not be a successful coach. All right. So the next one, more experience. All right. So this myth is logical for sure. The more you do something, the better you'll be. So the myth is that the more experience you have as a coach, the more successful you'll be. All right. But the one thing, and it's logical, but the one thing that I want you to remember is it doesn't matter how long you've been doing something. Anyone can have success at any point in their career. So I'm sure that you've met a coach who has won a huge tournament or been successful in their first year. All right. It's possible. You do not have to accrue experience in order to see success. It's not like you're setting yourself up in the first couple of years for not having success, right? Or being unsuccessful. So I believe experience only strengthens the skills that you already have. All right. So you already have everything that you need to be a successful coach. The experience, they just strengthen those skills that you have. All right, so there's no set amount of time that guarantees success. And that's what I feel the driving force behind this myth is, and that I hear from coaches is that, like, oh, I haven't put in the time, I haven't coached for long enough or whatever. It doesn't matter how long you've coached. There's no set amount of time. It's not like you have to coach for 3 years and then you can be successful, right? You can find success at the very first time you open your doors to a team or you set foot on the field, right? So you already have everything that you need to be successful. Experience, yes, it matters only in the sense of you will learn more through your experiences and you will learn what works and what doesn't, right? So experience only strengthens the skills that you already have. All right. So the third one, more talented players. So a lot of coaches that I hear, they just say, "Oh, the that coach, they have talented players, so that's why they're successful." Right? And this myth is only true on paper and looking at a stat sheet. Or let's go the other way of basically you see that you have a talented team, so therefore you think that you will be successful. And that's not true. All right. So it's only true on paper and looking at a stat sheet. And it completely discounts the essence of coaching. The essence of coaching. All right. Coaching is the ability to take a player or a team from where they are to the next level and beyond. Okay. And one thing that I want you to think about with this is improvement versus talent. Okay. So if you are focused on improving your players and improving your team, then that is coaching and that is way more successful than having talented players. Because if you do not focus on improvement and you have a full team of the highest talented players, if you go through the entire season and none of them have improved at all, then you haven't done your job as a coach. You have not improved them as players. And just because that somebody has a talented team does not make them a good coach, and vice versa. Just because a coach does not have a group of talented players does not mean that they are an unsuccessful coach. All right. So improvement over talent. You can have all talent in the world, but if you don't do your coaching job, then none of those players will improve and you have not done your job. Right. So that's one thing I want you to think about. Improvement, focusing on improvement versus just recognizing the talent that you have. All right. If your team starts at a 1 out of 10, being like 1 being the worst, 10 being the most successful, 1 out of 10, and you get them to a 5, then that's success. You've done your job. Even though it's a 5 out of 10, it's you have done your job. You have increased and improved each player and your team over time. And that is what coaching is. That is the essence of coaching, is the ability to take a player or a team from where they are to the next level and beyond. That is what coaching is. Okay, so the last thing I want to leave you with is, how do you define success? It is different for everybody. Some coaches, they like to see all the shiny things, the win the tournaments, the play the games, the everything like that. Other coaches, they have goals such as, I don't want my team to make an error this game, or I want this kid who hasn't gotten a hit all season, I want him to get a hit. All right. And like just different things like that. However you define success, that will be your North Star for this myth. If you believe that you have a school of talented players and you're going to win all of the games, then I mean that's a belief that you have, but that doesn't reflect on you as a coach because you didn't really do anything, right? You didn't improve those players, right? So that's just one thing. How do you define success? It doesn't matter what talent you have on your team. If you take them from here and take them to here, each player and your team, and you improve them, that is successful coaching. Anybody can be a successful coach. It does not matter. Here, let me go to the next slide. My recap, my closing thoughts. It does not matter how well you know the game, your baseball IQ. It does not matter how much experience you have. It does not matter what kind of talent you have on your team. None of these three things impact how successful you can be and you will be. Coaching, it does not equal these things. In order to be a successful coach, you don't need to have talent. You don't need to have experience. You don't need to know the game and have a high baseball IQ. Those are not three like prerequisites for being a coach. None of those things matter, and obviously they help. Right? I'm not saying that they don't totally matter. They help. If you know baseball and you have a talented team and you have all the experience in the world, you are probably going to be a great coach, right? But I just want all of those, especially new coaches who are watching this, that you do not need these three things in order to be a successful coach. Coaching is so much more than just all of the tournaments you win and all the win-loss record and everything like that. It's so much more. Your job and your role for these young players is so much more than just those three things. So hopefully this resonated with you and hopefully you enjoyed. And if this really hit you, then leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. All right. So these are the three most common myths that I hear youth coaches talk about all the time. And they're most of the time they're new coaches who don't really know the game and they've never really been around coaching before. This is a first year, whatever. This message is for you. You can be a successful coach. It doesn't, these three things, they don't matter. All right. So before you go, grab your free guide link below. I have a free coaching starter pack and a free parent starter pack. Feel free to grab them if you like. It has a whole bunch of free stuff in there that'll help you out. All right. So I'm Coach Hart. This is Building Better Baseball. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in another video real soon.